In the headlines, Public Service Union hints at strike action as members say enough is enough over the grievances. Cabriz Resort and Spa Kempinski to host hospitality training ahead of its scheduled opening in November. And increased shelter capacity expected with plans to build 2 more state-of-the-art emergency shelters on the island. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil. Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, 2 more state-of-the-art emergency shelters are on the cards for Dominica. Julian Morris has that story.
Prime Minister Skerrit made the announcement during a site visit to the $2.4 million Lai Resource Center and Emergency Shelter this week. Mr. Skerrit says funding for 2 state-of-the-art regional emergency shelters has come from the European Union.
We will see other such facilities in different parts of the country. We have already secured funding from the European Union, and as Minister of Finance, I advise the Cabinet to assign some of the funds to go towards the construction of dedicated hurricane shelters. And we have under the European Union funding 2 such shelters. They will have the same kind of features. It will be a multi-purpose facility, but primarily focusing during the hurricane season and other times for the safety of residents and shelter them. Because while what you want to do as far as practically possible, obviously we will not be able to have a facility like that in every village in Dominica, but we could have regional centers with proper washrooms and adequate washrooms, kitchens, storage facilities, and all of the shelters will have throughout the year blankets and beds and what you would need to ensure that you can stay in the shelter for a considerable period of time to weather the storm.
Disaster Coordinator Fitzroy Pascal says he's pleased that the country will be getting more especially constructed emergency shelters to safeguard the people of Dominica in times of disaster.
The ODM is pleased to see the soon-to-be-completed Layo emergency shelter, and like the Honorable Prime Minister says, plans are afoot to have 2 more of these specially constructed buildings in other parts of Dominica, and more to follow. As you know, disaster management is about saving lives and property and reducing the disruption to normal life activity. And this structure will surely bring comfort to the residents of Layo and communities close around during and after an event.
Chairperson of NEPO's Emergency Shelter Subcommittee, Glenroy Toussaint, says this facility will help increase the shelter capacity for the 2019 hurricane season.
If we go back to Hurricane Maria, in fact, 40% of our shelters were impacted, either destroyed, severely damaged, and so it means, therefore, we had a tremendous challenge as far as shelter management is concerned in Dominica. Of course, for the 2018 hurricane season, we had to call on the general public to develop what we call a neighborhood approach for families to take in families and friends and loved ones because of the challenge that we have. I am very, very pleased on behalf of the NEPO subcommittee to congratulate and thank the Honorable Prime Minister and his cabinet for taking these initiatives to ensure that there's a safe and sound emergency shelters in several regions in Dominica.
The Layo Resource Center and Emergency Shelter is expected to be completed by June this year.
On to educational matters. The Ministry of Education has emphasized the need to safeguard instructional time in schools. This according to Chief Education Officer Melina Fontaine. Fontaine says following Hurricane Maria, a lot of effort went into ensuring the sufficient instructional time was set aside for students to focus on their academic development. She says student engagement in extracurricular activities is also very important, but instructional time needs to be given priority.
One of the things that we have worked on since Maria was safeguarding instructional time. So having activities during school hours, we kind of want to clamp down on that because there are other times that we can do those kinds of activities for our students. So we want, yes, for us to safeguard curriculum instructional time, but we also want our students as much as possible to engage in extracurricular activities that will build their life skills, that will build their character, that will build their leadership skills, that will make them be the kind of contributing members of society that we want them to be.
Fontaine was speaking to media at a recent youth summit organized by the I Have a Right Foundation. The summit was held under the theme Developing the Leadership, Entrepreneurial Mindset and Social Empowerment of 21st Century Youth. Fontaine hopes these types of extracurricular events will have a positive impact on the youth.
That they are young people who will build their leadership skills, who will reflect on practices, because one of the things I tell them is that, and I put it very simple, be good and do good. And if they can do that and keep in a positive light everything that they do and role model positive behaviors in what they say and in what they do, I think they would be making a lot of inroads into where we want them to be. Persons who can move on and become the leaders who will continue to lead Dominica in a positive manner. This is what I would want for them.
In other developments, one school principal with decades of experience in the profession says she is concerned about the future of her fellow public servants. Miriam Lewis was among Solidarity speakers at a PSU rally on Thursday, where public servants aired their grievances over salary, appointments and other concerns.
There is money making ding dong everywhere. Everywhere I pass, I hear about money. And you know what burns me? When I see these people just sitting on the wayside and they get $10,000 check, big house check, and every kind of thing. I am not upset about people getting money or helping. The Bible tells you there is also poor among you, you have to help them. But what I am seeing happening there, it is disgraceful. It tells me that I shouldn't work at all. Better just sit down at my home. I'll get my big block house, my check coming, and I'll just go. So to me, I am just feeling sorry for public service people. I am going soon. I'll be soon 60, I'll be out. But I'm thinking of the generation behind.
Lewis also read other testimonials from her fellow public servants.
It's from a teacher. She says, or he says, I am a teacher for 10 years now. I possess the basic requirements to be appointed as a qualified teacher. In spite of several and repeated promises by the permanent secretary that I will be appointed, I am not. My understanding is that there are over 150 vacant positions. The recommendation emanating from the job classification review should be implemented, or at least a resolution should be arrived after meeting with the DPSU. If not, we should be enhancing our protest action to the point where we have a national strike. Don't think strike doesn't exist. Strike still existing, so you're still suffering. Next one says, I am sick every day because moles have infested my workplace. The General Secretary has visited and written about government building and nothing has been done about it. I am prepared to strike in the interest of my health. And the last one, the fire service is important. Let's press on. No salary negotiation, no work, I am on board.
The Dominican Nurses Association has again raised the issue of the migration of nurses as one of the organization's main concerns. The issue of the migration of Dominica's nurses was raised again at the PSU's rally on Thursday. Nurses Association President Rosie Felix made the point in her solidarity message at Thursday's PSU rally.
Many health centers have been repaired by government and donor agencies, but many more still await minor and critical repairs, such as repairing doors and windows to allow ventilation and a safety to doors in case of emergency exit. In the last 2 days, I went to visit my colleagues in the health centers. Then I have wonder, if a mad person come inside the health center behind them, they have nowhere to run. Lack of restoration of landline telephone has left nurses dipping into their malnourished pockets to keep their communication lines open. The Ministry of Health conference said they're topping up their phones, That is just in a few cases. The majority of nurses in the district have to use their phone. A nurse, a Kalinago nurse told me yesterday, she had to ask the patient to use her phone when her own phone does not work. The migration of nurses in droves is evidence of this litany of issues, brothers and sisters. Time up, pay up, Mr. Employer. Oil the engine of the country and create an environment for nurses to stay at home and work.
A training program for those interested in the hospitality sector is to get underway at the Cabritz Resort and Spa Kempinski. The hotel development project is ongoing with the intention of opening rooms to visitors by October this year. Development Director with Range Developments, Kamal Shihada, says this training is in keeping with the resort's promise to provide 5-star service to its clients. He says the training will also help Dominica's overall hospitality sector.
I don't mind anyone who wants to be trained and go and work somewhere else. We are not opening this training as just for the hotel. Anyone who wants to be trained in hospitality, 5-star hospitality, are more than welcome, and let them work, because we are looking to uplift the standard of Dominica as a tourist place from 2-3 star to 4-5 star. So this has to start from the moment that you land the plane up to the day that you leave.
Shihada says improved hospitality training and service will reap many benefits for the country and its people.
And we'll be working with the people of these things to train and lift it up. It has 2 benefits. Can bring more tourists or highly spending tourists here, and this will increase the income of the people. So the full standard can be lifted up.
The official grand opening for the Cabritz Resort and Spa Kempinski is scheduled for 2nd November this year. You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evil.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evil.
L'année sim tout partout. Attention si vous êtes homme et bien femme. Visitez place santé pour examiner corps. Ça c'est un nid pour yo ouais si l'année pièce moun au lion qui ni maladie TB et bien maladie sexuelle. En compagnie moun qui ni maladie HIV, P ni TB aussi. Savent qui l'année guérison pour TB. Ou ça vivre en bonne santé même si ou ni maladie HIV. Parlez by docteur. Prends responsabilité. Aidez du bout de sime maladie TB et HIV. Ou agir tout le monde pour examiner corps yo.
Welcome back. The Public Service Union is calling on government to prioritize some of their grievances. Here is DPSU President Steve Joseph addressing Thursday's rally.
It is the time to clean out the mold at the printry and other offices where our officers work. The health of our officers is too important to play cheap games. People working in poor working conditions, poor air quality, getting sick on the job. Isn't that a priority for the employer to give urgent attention? We in Dominica continue to face the reality of having, brothers and sisters, the lowest minimum wage in the Caribbean. Some of the lowest salary levels in the OECS and the wider Caribbean. Too many of our public officers are in temporary or acting position for 5, 10 years, qualified. A growing number of persons employed on contracts or in key positions in the public service, but in an NEP status. No job security.
Joseph also appealed for suitable housing for fire officers.
In stations that are well repaired, well equipped, well resourced, with modern equipment. It's been years since the Portsmouth Fire Station is supposed to be under repairs. The conditions at Kinfield and Roseau, no different. Brothers and sisters, the time is now. And public officers must grow the testicular fortitude to stand up and say enough is enough.
Joseph says what public servants want are solutions.
What is so wrong in giving employees, people who work and toil to build this country, what is a fair wage? What is an appropriate increase to combat inflation and the usual demands that life throws at us? To be able to educate our children, do our housing repairs and have a major impact of hurricane, to provide health care for our families. Is that too much to ask? Our health care professionals, our nurses that toil, making some plea and falling on deaf ear, who have to resort to public demonstration to bring their attention to their plight. All they're asking for is their basic right to work in a clean, healthy environment, to be respected and provided job security, to have fair and just remuneration, to take care of themselves and be able to afford safe transportation to and from work. Sisters and brothers, the time is now for us to say to the employer, we have had enough of delays. We want solutions.
And representatives of the CARICOM Secretariat and the Organization of Caribbean Utility Regulations met recently to discuss some issues related to the harmonization of the telecommunications regulatory framework in the CARICOM single ICT space.
The meeting was held via video conferencing anchored in Guyana and included virtual participation from some OCOR members, including ECTEL and the Caribbean Telecommunications Union. The meeting followed a mandate issued by the CARICOM Heads of Government at the 18th special meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government on the CARICOM Single Market and Economy held in December 2018. CARICOM Assistant Secretary General, Trade and Economic Integration, Mr. Joseph Cox, highlighted the approval of the roadmap and the integrated work plan for the single ICT space by the Heads of Government in 2017. He pointed out that ICT was now playing a role in all sectors and processes, and thus raised questions of how to deal with a growing pressure to adopt a converged regulatory regime and how to successfully realize the potential of alternative network infrastructures, how to develop suitable policy, among other things.
Imagine you have Hollywood at your command. Introducing Flow Evo.
Red cheese, gold rings, all black, everything creeping through the night.
Anywhere you are.
Big girls don't scream hard like Halloween, make me feel alive.
There's a world of entertainment here, and you run the show. Flow Evo.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow.
To end the news, the headlines again. Public Service Union hints at strike action as members say enough is enough over their grievances. Cabris Resort and Spa Kempinski to host hospitality training ahead of its scheduled opening in November. and increase the shelter capacity expected with plans to build 2 more state-of-the-art emergency shelters on the island. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.